The main difference between a hashinal and an NFT is that with a hashinal, you have your data stored 100% on the Hedera consensus service, so on the Hedera network.
Michael, welcome back. How things been?
Hey, Brandon, things have been great. It's stoked to be on the show again.
Yeah, you've been busy, I can tell that. So, just to start off, Michael, the amount of growth and innovation that we're seeing in the Hedera ecosystem is pretty mind blowing. From gaming and sports to infrastructure, payments, and NFTs, what's caught your imagination?
Yeah, it's been really phenomenal. I mean, you just if you just look at the Twitter timeline between today and like a month ago, like the sheer amount of bull posting that's going on is pretty insane to me. I've been really excited. I'm personally like I've been seeing some of the videos from Earthlings and the city that they've built out, and my jaw kind of hits the floor when I see stuff like that because I realize like, well, that's a team that's entirely self-funded with no VC interest, and they're just doing all of this themselves. Like they're building out basically a AAA game. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's really cool. You know, going on that same narrative, we've got some of the same energy coming out in the hashinals community. Two of the things I found really interesting. Number one, there's Watusi behind the blank paper DAO account, and he's built this world called the Sketchverse. So it's the first, I think, completely open world on Hedera that you can just jump into and play today that's hosted on a React application. And every entity inside of this world is actually a hashinal. So you have playable characters that have been minted before and different assets in the world that are all hashinals. And they're even adding this new feature now where you're inside the world and you're walking around. And it sounds a little bit crazy to describe, but literally with your keyboard, you're walking around in this huge metaverse. And there's a cube in the middle of this world. So you can click this cube, and when you click it, it actually executes a transaction in your hash pack to generate a raffle entry using the HCS2 standard that we built at Hashgraph Online. So it's a little bit of inception there because you've got this entire open world, and all the assets in that world are actually hashinals as well. Another cool thing that happened recently is we have another developer in the hashinals community, and they made this HTML hashinal app, and it's basically a giant globe. And on this globe, you can, using a coordinate system, put hashinals onto the map. So you pick which hashinal you want, and then you select the X and Y coordinates, and then boom, it ends up on this globe, and now you can interact with it. So for me, I'm really excited about it, more of these kinds of developments from engineers getting involved in the hashinals community and building out cool stuff using the technology that we have now.
Can you just give us a refresher on the difference between most of the NFTs out there and then the hashnals that you're talking about?
Yeah. So in general, like hashinals are still NFTs. The main difference between a hashinal and an NFT is that with a hashinal, you have your data stored 100% on the Hedera consensus service, so on the Hedera network, utilizing mirror nodes and topic IDs on the consensus nodes. With regular NFTs, typically your metadata is stored off chain on IPFS or Arweave. So, in simpler terms, if I were to tell you, hey, Brandon, would you rather have an NFT where the data is on a piece of paper, or it's on that piece of paper, but actually there's a location on where you can go and retrieve it? That's basically the difference between a hashinal and a regular NFT, is where it's stored.
Okay, I got you. So all on Graph. Now I want to get on to TierBot. Of course, you've been doing some amazing work there. What are some of the things that either you're working on that are going to come out in the future or that you've already launched that people should be excited about?
Yeah, I think the thing that we've been really excited about is just creating new use cases. And let me see, maybe I can actually share my screen here.
Sure.
For us, like we're not planning to be a competitor to X. At the core of it, our ethos is that we're the simplest way that you can store and retrieve these on graph files. So one of the use cases that we built out recently, and you've probably seen this all over Twitter, are these link pages. Link pages are basically another spin on the link in bios that you've seen, like Linktree, for example, is like one of the most prominent ones. But instead of it being stored on a Web2 server, all of the content for your links is stored 100% on HCS1 topic IDs. What that means essentially is you can go and inscribe your link in bio, put it on HCS, and now if, Kiloscibe burns to the ground one day or whatever, that file is still there and you can go and reuse it and import any application that successfully implements the HCS1 SDK, CDN, sorry. And through the link in bio tool, you can go and create your links. And it's really as easy as using a drag and drop editor, because you go and you enter your new link over here. Let's say you want to put like the Hedera website, right? You just type it in, hedera.com. And now I want to put an icon. So I will put the Hedera logo over here. And then boom, I've got this new link in here. So it is really kind of intuitive. It feels like a drag and drop editor. You can customize it as much as you want. You have all of these different settings. You can put custom page backgrounds, custom colors for literally like any setting in here. You can go and customize it, set card backgrounds, put your own theme behind it. It becomes quite your own. And most recently, we announced this new feature here called the profile mode. The profile mode is kind of like that next iteration for the link pages. The idea, again, it's not to compete with anything that's out there already today, but just kind of to demonstrate, well, you've got your link page and now you can kind of create a essentially decentralized profile that's stored entirely on Graph. So it plugs in your account ID and it pulls down your balance. It pulls down some analytics that we're getting sourced through Tierbot and all of your NFTs. And as you're going through your NFTs, you can go and view the inscribed file, or you can go and purchase it directly on SentText. So now you've got this profile. If you want to take it a step further, you can actually go and inscribe it as an NFT, airdrop 1,000 copies to a bunch of people, and then they can go and access it from Hashpack. And in Hashpack, there's a little button that takes you straight to the inscription so that somebody always has a memory of you whenever they're trying to look you up.
Michael, I could see this being really useful for the new worlds that Galaxy's spinning up, right? Each one of those has its own icon and you can spin up, its own icon on your phone. But I think having this kind of repository would make a lot of sense for them.
Yeah, exactly. That was the first thing I thought when I saw Worlds come out. I was like, yeah, this can actually be really cool as an integration into on-graph files. What if you can actually inscribe your entire world and serve it from a domain? Then that takes it a step further where, if something ever happens, you still have your world. Well, now you can tokenize it. Now you can share it to a whole bunch of people. In essence, what it kind of does is two things. Number one, it almost is like a new asset class. If you look at it that way, well, now you've got your generative art, and now you have your worlds in your wallet, right, from different people, and it lets you access them easily. Even if the main utility of having that kind of new asset class in your wallet is a way to access the world, I think that's doing a lot. But I'm sure that creators can look at other ways to add utility to that, because the more people are accessing the world, the better for your community. So there's probably ways you can say, well, if you have a world in your wallet, then you get XYZ benefit as well, tie a little bit of utility to it. Or you have a world in your wallet, well, that unlocks a special channel in your world. Or, like there's a million ways that you can kind of do it. And I think that would be a really cool use case for Worlds to take it that step further.
It seems like all this stuff is just kind of coming together. Is there anything else you'd like to cover before we let you go?
I think for us, the big thing is we're going to keep looking at interesting ways where we can utilize on-graph files and showcase what you can really do with it. Recently, we had a big announcement on the Genfinity show with Hashgraph Online, formally becoming a DAO. It's actually been something that we've been working on for about 8 months, really. We've got 9 companies behind Hashgraph Online, and I'll be serving as the president to really lead us into this new world where laddering up to the things that Kiloscibe is building is a completely decentralized, censorship resistant internet that's powered entirely by Hedera and the Hedera consensus service. That's the world where I think we're heading in. We're working right now towards getting to the point where we can actually build out a browser that can pull in content from the Hedera consensus service. So instead of you accessing a website the way that you do today, let's say you go to Hedera.com. When you go to Hedera.com, you're actually making a request probably to one of the three big cloud providers like Google or Amazon. And you're pulling this content in from a non-decentralized source. But Hedera.com isn't a dApp, so maybe that's not a big deal. But you look at dApps like SaucerSwap, for example, and you look at where regulation has gone and how, at the click of a button or switch, your website could just be taken down, right? So utilizing on-graph storage could be a way to kind of prevent that in some capacity because you have that decentralized storage as the root of your website. And there's no way that somebody can go and kind of rug you from under the hood because your version that you inscribed as a website, that's going to be the version. You can't go and change it, right? If it's immutable. And it creates another layer of trust, even like from the archive perspective, where a user can go and switch which version of SaucerSwap they want to use. Maybe it's version 1, 2, 3, 4, because all of those versions would be inscribed on graph. So if there's a version that works better for you, you can go and switch to it. And you also have that history to see if anything changes.
Michael, this is some really cool stuff. Thank you so much for coming on today and telling us about it. We're really lucky to have leaders like you. And thanks for continuing to build on Hedera.
Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate your time and putting us on the show.
I'm now posting these interviews of Hedera builders independently to my channel. The community, influencers, and media outlets are free to use this content to spread the word on what's being built on Hedera. Once they're all uploaded, you'll be able to go to my channel and search for whatever topic or team you're interested in to find more information. Or you'll be able to get the most recent Hedera news by watching the latest HBAR Weekly update. So check them out.